what are investigators looking for here? What should they be looking for?
Well, the investigators first are going to try to understand what led to the error by the pilots to line up on the taxiway, which is just north of the runway 28 right in San Francisco. There are electronic devices that send radio signals up to the airplane for vertical and lateral alignment, and why those were not being followed is a central question that the investigators will look at.
So potentially this is a technical issue, an issue with the technology. Is that what you're saying?
No, the technology's there. The technology's proven. But why the airplane wasn't following that those radio signals, that instrument landing system, I think that's what they're going to focus on. The pilots early on recognized something's not right because they ask the tower, are there lights on the runway? The tower replies, no, 28 right is clear. You're the only one on it. And then other pilots say he's lined up on the taxiway. So you can begin to recognize there is uncertainty within the Air Canada crew's mind about what's going on. And appropriately, the air traffic controller recognizes the issue and sends the jet around.
Now, I know you have a very long career in this industry, 40 years. Have you ever seen anything like this?
Oh, yes. Things like this have happened before. They're very rare, but they do happen. This is the same sort of thing that results in occasionally you'll see an airplane land at an airport it believes to be one airport when in fact it's another. There was recently in Santa Ana, California, a case where an airplane landed on a taxiway. They thought it was a runway. There's been another one in Atlanta. So this comes under a thing that the psychologists call confirmation bias. But what is of equal or greater importance is the system worked. There was a problem, there was ambiguity, and the jet was sent around, and they made a normal landing out of it.
Confirmation bias, what is that exactly?
Confirmation bias is when pilots or humans in general, when they see something, they believe they're seeing what they think they see as opposed to what they're actually seeing. That crew believed that they were lined up with a runway. In fact, they were lined up with a taxiway, and as they got closer, they continued to believe that they, in fact, were lined up on a runway. They were confirming, because that's what humans do. We confirm the things that we think are correct. And this is something that's been known in accident investigation for many years.
My understanding, another part of this investigation may be the layout of the San Francisco airport. How does that come into play here?
The San Francisco airport, particularly the two runways here, 28 left and right, are the closest runways where commercial jets land anywhere in the country. They're only about 750 feet apart. So when you land in San Francisco, you're frequently very close to other airplanes, and you have to be very, very acutely aware of what runway you're lined up for. Is it the correct one? And it's precision flying. And that's going to be another thing that the investigators look at, knowing that all the crews that fly in and out of San Francisco, and I've landed there many, many times, you have to be very, very cautious. And so what happened here with this crew, the investigators are going to look at that.
So you made the point that the protocols worked in this case. But still, it happened, potentially a disastrous outcome, which obviously was avoided. But are there enough protocols in place to handle this kind of situation, to avoid this kind of situation, given that we had this close call?
Absolutely. I think the protocols yet again prove themselves. The fact that you hear several pieces to this. One, you hear the crew say, there's something that doesn't look right to us on the runway. Are there lights on the runway? That alerts everybody that there is ambiguity in the mind of the pilots. Secondly, you hear United Flight 1, which is a 787 going to Singapore, say he's lined up with the taxiway. He's providing information. The tower controller, who's already started to look at the Air Canada flight, agrees that he is off to the right of where he should be. Air Canada go around. Air Canada immediately follows it. So the protocols worked exactly as they should. Everybody involved here did a good job. Now we just need to understand why the Air Canada crew believed that the taxiway was in fact the runway they were cleared to land on.
And John, you know this airport really well. How close of a call was it? How close is that taxi runway versus the landing runway?
It's probably 400 or 500 feet, if that. It is just north of the runway. and it's a long piece of concrete. One of the things is the coloring of the lights is different. You have an amber lighting, clear to amber lighting on the runway. They're blue on the taxiway. And this should have alerted the Air Canada crew that something wasn't right. That's going to be some of the questions the investigators will ask the Air Canada crew.
And typically, what kind of protocols should a pilot go through when he or she is landing?
Well, one of the things is that you tune and you utilize the ground facilities of the instrument landing system, because it gives you lateral, left and right, and vertical, up and down information, so that you can position the airplane for a normal approach and landing. And it's particularly critical when you have what they call closely spaced parallel runways. Mm-hmm. San Francisco is one of those. Okay. So those are the things that you do on a normal approach. What happened here, we'll have to see.
Okay, John, I appreciate your time on this. Thank you.
My pleasure.